So you've got some crypto, and if you do, there's probably one question that's always kind of lingering in the back of your mind. Is it really safe? Well, today we're going to tackle that head on. We're going to dive deep and figure out how you can actually, truly secure your digital assets.
I mean, you see the headlines constantly, right? Hacks, scams, millions of dollars just gone in a flash. It's enough to make anyone nervous. It makes you wonder, are the assets you've worked so hard for genuinely protected? Let's find out.
For a lot of people, a huge part of the answer to that question is something called a hardware wallet. So we're going to zero in on one of the biggest names in the game, Ledger, and break down exactly how these little gadgets are meant to be a fortress for your crypto.
All right, so let's say you're convinced and you're thinking about getting one. The very first question is, which one? Let's figure out how to find the right ledger for you. Okay. So the lineup basically comes down to three main choices. You've got the Nano S, the Nano X, and then the new high-end Stacks. Now, they all share the exact same core security, but their features, they're really built for different kinds of people. So are you mostly at your desktop, or are you a power user on the go? Let's see. When you put them side by side, it gets pretty clear pretty fast. The Nano S, think of that as your reliable, no frills, plug it in with a USB cable option. The Nano X is the big upgrade for anyone who uses their phone for crypto. It's got Bluetooth, a battery, and it can hold up to 100 apps at once. And then you have the Stacks. That's a whole other beast with its huge e-ink touchscreen.
Now, here's one really important thing to keep in mind. App storage. A Ledger device can technically manage thousands of different crypto assets, sure, but the device itself can only hold a certain number of apps at any one time. So with a model like the Nano S, if you have a really diverse portfolio, you might find yourself doing a little bit of juggling. Uninstalling one app to install another. It's not a huge deal, but definitely something to be aware of.
But what's this secret sauce here? What is it that actually makes these devices so secure? Well, the magic really boils down to one simple, powerful idea: keeping your most valuable secrets completely offline. So let's get down to basics. What is a hardware wallet? You can think of it as a tiny digital vault. Its one and only job is to hold your private keys. Those are the secret codes that give you access to all your crypto, and to keep them totally isolated from the internet.
And here's the difference, and it's a huge one. When your keys are on your computer or your phone, they're considered hot. They're online, and that makes them a target. A ledger puts them into cold storage. It's really simple when you think about it. Hackers on the internet can't steal something they physically can't reach.
Okay, you're probably wondering, so how do you actually send crypto with it? It's a really clever four-step dance. First, you set up the transaction on your computer or phone like you normally would. Then, you send the transaction details over to your ledger. Now here's the magic part. You have to physically press the buttons on the device to approve it. The device signs the transaction completely offline, and only that secure signed approval goes back to the internet. Your private keys, they never ever leave the safety of that little vault.
Now, it's really tempting to think of these things as invincible, as completely foolproof. But to really understand security, you have to look at the potential weak points. So let's be real. What are the actual risks here?
This is the big one, isn't it? Can somebody actually hack a Ledger device itself?
The short answer is it's incredibly difficult, but nothing in this world is 100% perfect. The vulnerabilities that do exist tend to fall into three main buckets that you really need to be aware of.
Okay, risk number one, supply chain attacks. This is where a bad actor intercepts the device while it's being shipped to you and messes with it. It's a terrifying thought, right? And it's exactly why this is a non-negotiable rule. You should only ever buy a ledger directly from the company or—
Risk number two is the firmware. That's basically the device's operating system. And just like any piece of software, bugs can be found. The crucial part here is that Ledger is constantly releasing security patches to fix them. This makes keeping your device's firmware updated absolutely essential. This isn't like an update you can just ignore.
And finally, we get to risk number three. And honestly, this is the biggest one. It often has nothing to do with the hardware at all. It's about us, the user. Scammers will use every psychological trick in the book to try and get you to reveal your 24-word recovery phrase. The device can be a fortress, but if you willingly hand over the master key, well, that fortress is useless.
Okay, so we've looked at the different models and the potential risks. Now, let's turn all of that knowledge into a simple, actionable checklist to keep you safe.
So how do we put all this together? How do you use this thing like a pro so you can actually sleep well at night?
Following a few core rules is what separates good security from rock-solid security.
Here it is, your security playbook. First, like we said, buy direct from official sources. Second, that 24-word phrase, treat it like it's a block of gold. Write it down, hide it somewhere safe, and never, I mean never, type it into a computer or take a picture of it. Third, use a strong PIN, not 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth, always install those firmware updates we talked about. Fifth, become paranoid about phishing. Just remember, Ledger will never ask you for your recovery phrase. And finally, don't just leave the device lying around on your desk. Treat it like the valuable object it is.
You know, in the end, it really all comes down to this. The hardware is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's only one half of the equation. True security comes from combining that great tool with smart, consistent, vigilant habits. It's a process, not just a product you can buy. So the final question isn't just about what hardware you have, but about how you use it. Is your security process truly worthy of the assets it's supposed to be protecting?